views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Pat, and I'm so thrilled to be connecting with all of you. You are tuning in to the Empowered Self series with my co-host, Dr. Friedemann Schaub. And so here's what we are talking about today. Who do you trust? Your intellect or your intuition? What a great show, because, boy, I'll wait till you hear about what he's going to be talking about here. You know, because part of this is really looking at ourselves and thinking, well, wait a minute. Do we really trust ourselves? Do we really trust that which we cannot see? And how does intuition and faith step into the process of this? You know, what is it that we know or don't know about ourselves or trust about ourselves in the realm that we live in? Many of you know Dr. Friedemann Schaub is the author of Fear and Anxiety Solution. You can find out more about that by going to the website, thefearandanxietysolution.com. But, you know, as part of an ongoing series he's been doing with us, you know, we're talking about what the empowered self really is about. What does it mean, and how do we show up as it in the world? Dr. Friedemann, of course, you know, has clients all over the world. And, you know, we want to make sure today as well, you know, there are going to be ways that you can connect with him and get a free consultation. You know, as we've been talking about for the past month, really a big emphasis on this has really been about whether or not we have to take this journey alone. And, you know, the thing that I think we're all realizing is that we don't. You know, we don't have to take this journey alone. But what stops us from reaching out and getting the help that we need? If you're anything like me, you want to really cut to the chase. So you really want to work with someone that is helping people to transform their lives. And that's what I know about Dr. Friedemann Schaub. That's what I know that he does. And, you know, the time he spends with people to get really at the core issues of what's holding us back. You know, moving beyond the surface level scratching that happens when we do things on our own. And if you really want to change for good, if you really want to say goodbye to fear and anxiety, if you really want to create an epic life and step into the life that you are meant to have, you know, this is the person you're going to want to talk with. And as so many of the folks that have come on the show, people that have worked with him have attested to, is just the point that their lives change. They can get unstuck. You know, being stuck is not a way of life. But how is it in our world today? How is it that we know that if we paid attention to that inner voice, our lives would be better? And even with that knowing, we just can't do it. Dr. Friedemann, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Great to have you. Thank you. I mean, I'm always happy to be on the show. And today's topic is certainly a good one for all of us, I think, because we can all use a little bit more intuition in our life, right?
Yeah. And, you know, I want to talk with something that I said beforehand, because it's really important that we speak about this for a minute. You know, I've really had some time to reflect, especially now I'm sitting down, I'm writing things about my own personal journey. I could not point to a single time, if I reflect back, where the things that have helped me shift, I have done alone, right? I mean, I tried to say something like, oh, when I was out in the desert for 10 days, I was by myself. But no, I wasn't. I was in the realm of a master facilitator, who knew how to help people get past their unstuckness. I wanted to ask you about that because it's that same stuckness that really does block our level of awareness and intuition from coming to the forefront, doesn't it?
You're absolutely right. And I see this with my own life as well, that sometimes when you are in the maze of your own mind, in the labyrinth of your life, it's just really difficult to navigate yourself through because you have such a small perspective. You're looking down, you're looking maybe 2 feet ahead of yourself, and, somehow you get lost in it. So having someone who has a really fresh view on your life and someone who has been helping people to get through these obstacles that hold them back, that's certainly something that's priceless because, you are getting help in ways that accelerates your journey and that also, not only eases the suffering, but also helps you to grow in ways that you may have not been able to do on your own. And I'm working very intuitively, so I don't necessarily see people for their problems or their anxiety or depression or their stuckness. I always get an intuitive sense right at the first consultation what really is, their confusion and what holds them back, but also what is their potential. And that's something that I believe helps us when someone holds that vision for us that says, I can really see you are absolutely brilliant and you have so much positivity and so much power inside of you, and I'm going to hold this up for you until you can actually see it yourself and until you can embody it yourself. I mean, that gives you enormous boost and motivation to really grow into that greater yet to be.
Yeah. And, when we're talking about that greater yet to be, there is, and this is really what I think that most of us are starting to experience. We act as if we're in search of knowledge, we're in search of wisdom, we're in search of this, we're in search of that, as if knowledge and wisdom are elusive, as if they were not there, as if intuition is something that had to be cultivated, to tap into this source that is barely available to us. But that's really not the case, is it? We have things that go on day to day in our gut, that intuitive feeling, whatever that is. How would you describe that in terms of, defining intuition?
Well, intuition is certainly not magic or any kind of superpower that only a few people have, but it is something that is you could call it a subtle sense, the sixth sense, they call it the third eye, whatever name you want to give it, it is a sense that all of us have, and all of us have that resource inside. But like so often, and I think it's really, in the last 100 years maybe, since, we were maybe going into the industrial revolution of times, we are overriding those senses. And all we are doing is listening to our conscious mind, our intellect, our rational thinking. But that subtlety, we usually don't pay attention to. And I think that's really what we are learning more and more, how important it is to pay attention to all of us, all of those, millions and billions of nerve endings that actually do send us information, and not just limit our awareness to that little tiny brain we have. We are definitely thinking our brain is, the source that can navigate us through life. But in fact, the brain is, often outdated in terms of its ability to really see things that our subtle senses are able to see. And today I want to talk about, many examples of people that have been using the subtle sense, and it literally saved their lives. So I think it's important to reawaken our awareness to that what's already there, get off that pedestal of having to be smart, and actually developing more that sense, some people call it also the emotional intelligence, that allows you actually to be much more fine-tuned into what is right for you and which direction you want to move forward in life.
You know, I heard something interesting the other day, Dr. Friedemann, and I'd love for you to talk about it when we come back from break. I don't know what I was listening to, maybe one of our hosts on Transformation Talk Radio, but I was listening to something and just kind of caught this comment sideways. And the comment was that the world that we live in today and the world that generations will be living in the future are so jam-packed with information, with digits and bytes and bits and all of that, that the only way, and he did use that language like that's strong, the only way that successful people will be teased apart from the rest is through intuition. And what he went on to say, I'd love to hear your thought about this. What he went on to say is, because everything is speeding up so quickly that we do not have time to analyze every situation and every decision now. You know, that we're living in a world where if you take a nanosecond to start to analyze something, that it will be a nanosecond too long. And I thought, wow, now we are going to get scientific evidence, you know, cognitive left brain analysis on why intuition is the way to go. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Dr. Friedemann Schaub's going to weigh in on this. Is that true or not? Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the show.
She come to me with a gentle touch. A love real, it was far too much.
Called the Oprah of radio by her listeners, award-winning host Dr. Pat Baccili is blowing the doors off of traditional talk radio. Get ready for an energizing delivery and powerful interviews with leaders in the field of human potential. Dr. Pat's fresh, new perspective on living life full out has catapulted her show to the top of talk radio. Tune in and Dr. Pat will help you thrive instead of merely survive. Visit thedrpatshow.com. That's THEDRPatShow.com for listening times in your area.
Tune in each Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio to Limelight Radio with Katina Makris. This is an inspirational, cutting-edge radio show educating worldwide listeners on a diversity of Lyme disease-related topics. Each week, Katina will interview some of the world's leaders in health, wellness, spirituality, and human potential. For more information, visit limelightradio.com.
Each month, listen to Live More Radio with co-host Allie Katz. Join Allie and Dr. Pat as Allie introduces new ways to bring balance back to your life through meditation, sleep, and exercise techniques so you can live your truly authentic life. Stress less. Live more. To learn more about Allie, visit livemoreradio.com.
As a way of life. Reclaim leadership over your domain with Ascended Master Moses. Meditation workshop led by Wendy R. Wolf and Lynn Brown. Friday, January 30th at the Key Center Building in Bellevue. Live out your unique and significant role in this lifetime for the betterment of your soul as well as the universe as a whole. Come practice opening to your inner voice. Be the difference only you can make in your world. To register, go to healgrowshine.com or email wendy@wendyrwolf.com. Calling all healers, you're invited to the Garden of Earthly Delights at the annual Women of Wisdom Community Pampering Day for Women, May 30th at North Seattle College. We're looking for a variety of practitioners and experts in the art of energy healings, intuitive readings, and bodywork. If you are a practitioner of the healing arts, we invite you to share your gifts with the WOW community. Email us at wow@womenofwisdom.org.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Yeah, we're playing some of the tunes from The Voice finalists from last night. You know, of course, the big night popping up here. And, you know, it's always interesting to see the process of how people vote and who they vote for. And, you know, but what I find so interesting in this season of The Voice is what we're talking with Dr. Friedemann Schaub about right now is, you know, it's really interesting what has made the show The Voice so popular And one of the things that the fans point to is this absolute mentorship and support from the folks that are out there that are helping them, the judges, so to speak. And it is that support, that guidance, that direction that has really caused, a, quote, reality show to really blow the doors off, highlighting talent in a way it's never been done before. And, that's what we're talking with Dr. Friedemann about. It's, we're talking about intuition. How do we strengthen it? How do we step into that place where we're not having to muddle through, the bits and the bytes of technology, of text messages, of Facebook posts, of this or that. I'm usually, Dr. Friedemann, about the fourth person that finds out something is posted to Facebook that I'm supposed to really comment on. I'm literally fourth in the chain that actually sees it because everybody else has really stepped up to post or done something. And I wanted to ask you what you thought of the comment that I heard on Transformation Talk Radio the other day, a comment that someone made that said the dividing factor, and his language was very strong, the dividing factor between success and failure is going to be the degree to which we can tap into our intuition. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there is a lot of truth to that. And, what's really true is that we are getting a lot of information. And that study showed that. There was actually a study that showed about the purchase habits of people at IKEA. And what they found out is that, they shadowed the people that were buying stuff there and they interviewed them later about how they shop and how happy they are with their purchases. And what they found out is that the people that were actually intuitive shoppers who just see something and somehow it feels good and they buy it are much more happy with their purchases than the people that were overanalyzing, simply because sometimes when we are bombarded with information, and certainly anybody who goes into a big shopping mall feels bombarded with information, it just is for our conscious mind too hard to comprehend anything or everything. And so we are not making necessarily the choices that are right for us. We are just picking one or two of these categories that our intellect says are good or valuable. But then we find out, no, it actually doesn't really feel right what we bought. And so what is not quite true is that we still need to have something that is more than just intuition. And, there is something that another study showed about golfing. And that study showed that people that are learning to play golf are much better when they're actually thinking consciously about everything that they're doing than if they would just play, with their gut feeling. On the other hand, the people that are really good at playing golf and, are pros, when they are having their conscious mind involved and they are overthinking, their game goes down the toilet. And so they have developed these techniques where basically they are keeping their conscious mind busy by, reciting the ABC or something like this while they are doing the golf swing, so that they are really doing this more from the body memory and that sense, that gut feeling, that's what feels good, than going into the mind. So both is important at different times. So if we are looking into the future, there is still some learning we have to do. There are still some skills we have to acquire. But overall, yes, our intuition will be more and more important to really maneuver through life. And unfortunately, and I don't hope that will be the case, because at some point I think we have to lower our bombardment with information. I don't think that our mind, whether we have a sharp intuition or not, can really cope with the amount of bits and information we are getting. There needs to be some kind of a limit to what we expose ourselves.
I love this. For those of you out there, if you have a question for Dr. Friedemann about intuition, want to get some insight, want to learn some tips, some tools, 1-800-930-2819. But one of the things I think that I heard you say as well is that, we're agreeing upon the fact that we really do need to strengthen our intuition.
Yes.
And, so let's talk a little bit about why that is. And the thing that I go to, especially after reading your book, is how devastating fear and anxiety could be to intuition, right? I mean, if you just take fear alone, right? And I really could go back at points in time in my life where I really lived my life in fear. I really did. I was not really playing in the pool of intuition very much. And I would love for you to talk about this a little bit. Does intuition help us move beyond fear?
Well, I think what you just said is absolutely right, that when you are very fearful and anxious, sometimes it's really difficult to discern, am I getting an intuitive hit that I'm in danger or that I have to, call my son because I haven't heard from him, or is it actually something that my anxiety is telling me? And so I'm just, driving myself crazy and becoming micromanaging or hypervigilant. And the best way to discern, I find, is if we are noticing how it feels differently. When we are having a pit in the stomach and it feels all tense and somehow we are feeling either we want to just, hide out or we want to force something to happen, like forcing someone to call us back or forcing some confirmation that we are okay, that is usually coming from anxiety. That's like a contraction. It's definitely feeling like a draining energy. But the intuition that we are feeling is usually an intuition that is just feeling right. There is not necessarily a lot of emotional charge to it. Sometimes people describe it as expansive, but there's just a no questions asked. It's right, and you just follow through with it. And there are ways for us to train this. There are 6 voices that we can actually learn to listen to, and one of them is the voice of I am in danger. And, a client of mine told me this story, and it was really interesting. He's an absolute seasoned hiker and climber and just, knows his way around. And he told me he was doing one of those ice walls in the winter that he has done hundreds of times. And, he's certainly a person who doesn't have any kind of fear and anxiety about his sport, but he was going to that ice wall, and then he had this feeling inside that says, no, you have to go actually, to the left. Just go to the left, don't choose this one. And as I said, no questions asked. He just felt like, okay, that's what I listened to. There was no really, fear or any kind of worry about it. It was just an inner voice, an inner gut feeling that told him to the left. Now, 1 minute after he went to the left, the wall that he just wanted to go up came crushing down. Wow. And he would have been absolutely killed if he would have not listened to that intuition. So he was in awe about, that inner guidance system that somehow was aware of maybe some little noises or maybe little signs that he consciously couldn't compute, but subconsciously he saw that this wasn't safe, and something just told him, go left and it's going to be okay. And so you see, there is something that can tell us I'm in danger, but it doesn't necessarily go into an immediate fight and flight response. It just means, like he pretty collectedly do something and you're going to be fine.
Well, and, part of this, though, is what you talked about earlier, is learning how to harness the energy of intuition, how to harness that so that it really becomes second nature to us, right? It's learning how to do that, like your friend. I mean, I think that many of us along the way can talk to experiences. I had a motorcycle experience that was something like that. And it's fascinating as I think back. And I have to tell you, when I think back about that one experience, I can see it, taste it, feel it. I could feel the fear, right, in every cell of my body from that motorcycle experience, and how intuition was the only thing that I believe today, that and, my higher power, from not having me crash and burn. And, I think we can remember those times where our intuition or our gut or that feeling has helped us. And if it is so powerful, Dr. Friedemann, if this is so powerful, if for me, for your friend, for the many people listening, if we have had these experiences, then why is it that we don't listen to our intuition more? We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Dr. Friedemann Schaub about that. Why is it we don't call upon our intuition more? Why do we wait till we're taking a hairpin turn at 45 miles an hour, way faster than anybody should be taking that turn, and wait to call our intuition in at that moment? Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with the show. Dr. Friedemann Schaub joining us here today, Empowered Radio. This is the Empowered Self series. For more information, you can find out more about Dr. Friedemann if you go to the fearandanxietysolution.com. Also, we will give you a phone number where you can schedule your free consultation as well when we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the show, everybody. This is really cool. Who do you trust, your intellect or your intuition? We'll be right back.
Give me things that don't get lost, like a coin that won't get tossed, rolling home. Tune in to Prescience Life Radio with host Mia Simone. Mia is devoted to sharing her extensive knowledge on the invisible worlds of energy. Join Mia and discover the science of intuition and connect with your greatest gift. Start living in your potential today and every day by opening up to the power of inner knowledge. To learn more about Mia, visit presciencelife.com.
Tune in to the hit show Marketing Masters with Connie Fife. Mondays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Each week, Connie will bring you the best of the best thought leaders from around the world to share marketing strategies and best practices. Get fired up to grow your business with the Queen of Marketing. To contact Connie, visit ConnieFifeSpeaks.com.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Basile is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
This is Lynn Brown from the show Winning at the Game of Life. Listen, it's time to enrich your money stories and open your path to all that you desire. We all have limiting beliefs which we accumulate from our life experiences, ancestors, and past lives. These beliefs block our ability to receive the unlimited flow of abundance that the universe is constantly offering to us. Why are we so emotionally caught up on the word money? It's only one of the many forms of abundance. I'm excited to uncover your unique stories and limiting beliefs around money and abundance, as well as give you tools to release them from your space. It's time to invest in yourself. You deserve everything you ever imagined and more. Call me to schedule a reading at 844 letter B Intuit or letter R letter U Intuit.com.
Lynn was very accurate and she was so clear in explaining everything to me. I highly recommend Lynn to all of you.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you, does that song bring me back? That song bring me back. That young kid sang that song, bringing me back to my day, bringing me back to the day, the Woodstock day, bringing me back. I wonder how many people know how old that song really was last night that heard that. You think they knew how old that was, Benny?
The old man, the original singer.
Yeah.
Is it Bob Dylan? No.
No. Mm-mm. No.
Too far back for me to remember. That's for sure.
Oh, boy.
I can have to look it up, but
yeah.
Great rendition.
Great rendition. I'm telling you. And how much of the decisions we make in our lives are based on intuition? Dr. Friedemann, Schaub joining me here today. You know, Dr. Schaub, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, and I was sharing kind of the motorcycle story with you a little bit, which I apparently just reflected upon here today. I hadn't remembered that thing in a long time because it was so scary. As a matter of fact, I could still feel my heart up in my throat right now about that. You know what I mean? I mean, probably you have a way to talk about fear that's really that deeply embedded. But as I was explaining it to you, I was like, oh, my God, I was like right there in that moment. Scary. There's only one other time in my life that I've been more scared than that. But intuition, I guess, saved the day. So why, if intuition can save the day, why is it really is, it's not our go-to place? What are we doing there with that?
Well, I don't think that we are fostering intuition. You know, this is not something, when we really think about how we as children are born, there is definitely a lot of intuition present because we cannot really reason or rationalize anything. So we just intuitively, go through life, intuitively looking for food, intuitively trying to find, the warmth of the mother or the father, intuitively scream when something just doesn't feel good. I mean, we just do what we are not told to do, but what we are born with to do. But then we go and learn and are told to use our brain and not cry and not feel our feelings, but really think things through. And this is how we override our sense. One of the ways to sharpen your intuition is to actually listen to your body and listen to your emotions. Your emotions are an amazing guidance system. And if something feels, for example, not right, then we shouldn't just ignore it and say, well, forget about it. Let's, just move forward. We should actually really listen to that feeling. And I think that's part of the issue, that we are limiting our experience more to that what we can consciously understand. And the things we cannot understand, that don't make sense, we are kind of poo-pooing. And that needs to change, because I think a lot of people know when they are stuck in their head and they're not listening to really what's inside their heart, usually life doesn't turn out to be very fulfilling. And intuition certainly has its way to lead you along, not only away from danger, but also more towards what you want. And listening to these voices that I want to talk about really can help you to sharpen your intuition.
Well, I would like you to talk about the voices, because I think most people will tell you they hear voices in their heads all the time. But right? I mean, you work with people around the world. So I'm sure that folks tell you they're hearing the voices all the time. They're hearing the voices in their brain all the time. But it's not necessarily intuition, right?
Yeah, well, and that's not, I think intuition doesn't necessarily always use words. The voices we're hearing are more like self-talk. Often it comes from the subconscious mind, but not necessarily from the intuitive mind, but more from the inner critic or the anxious part of us, or we hear, maybe some echoes of the past of people that were very judgmental with us. So that's not intuition. Intuition goes way beyond that. And the intuition is more that, as I said before, that subtle sense that, kind of takes everything that is happening inside of us and around us into consideration, and then just tells us certain things. And those 6 voices that I think we want to listen to are not actually words. They're more like feelings. And the first feeling is just the feeling in your body. Start paying attention to your body. And I'm talking about body sensations. And how many of us do override the body sensation? When we feel hungry, we just don't have time. Right. When we feel tired, we just have another Red Bull. When we feel full, we still stuff the rest of the food inside, because we are watching actually TV while we're eating, so we're not really paying attention. And this way, our second brain, which is actually in the area of the stomach, gets totally, kind of turned off. We are not really tuned into what happens there in our body. And we also know that the body can give us information that is not necessarily about the physiological things happening. But let's say, for example, you are with someone, and every time you talk to this person, you feel totally exhausted and tired. That tells you something. It means that there is something draining your energy about either the person or the situation that you're in or what you're talking about. That is something that you cannot just override. That's a good way to realize, well, that doesn't really feel good when I am in that situation or talking with that person. Or you may be with someone and you feel, that your whole body is kind of tensing up. Now, sometimes we are, again, ignoring this rather than asking ourselves, well, am I now picking up this person's anxiety, or does this person just, really not feel good? I mean, I had a situation like this recently where I was working with people that I talked to the one guy, and I just had this feeling that there is a complete mismatch, and I didn't listen to the feeling. And months later and lots of money later, I realized that was not a good match, and I should have listened to my intuition. So sometimes we are, really not seeing these pieces of information as valuable, and we are trying to talk ourselves out of it. So the first voice we need to listen to is, what does my body tell me when I'm with people or in a certain situation, and just take it into consideration. Try to figure out what it means. You don't have to act upon it right away, but at least have a little bit of awareness of it.
I wanted to talk with you a little bit about this whole idea of examples of intuition and how intuition, for most of us, can get us to the place we want to go. And in the work that you do and the work that you do with people, and as we talked about earlier in the show, who do we trust, our intellect or intuition? And so I want to just kind of jump ahead to this idea of trusting the intuition. Clearly your friend and the example I gave of, not climbing the wall, and for me, taking a turn on the outside instead of the inside. And anybody in the biking world knows, Benny will be the first to tell you, when you take a hairpin turn, you do not go wide. But for some reason, we make those decisions. Sometimes, we want to make those decisions to help us get the job, get the relationship we want, right? Get past, all of the fears and the logic of things. How does this apply, this intuition, this trust? How does it apply to the day-to-day world we live in? Not necessarily danger, right? But the day-to-day world we live in. How can we apply this to the moments in time, where we're making decisions that maybe some people consider mundane?
Well, and we have to understand intuition is not just there for us to get ahead in life and get more or reach our goals. Intuition can be also an intuition about doing the right thing. So one of those, intuitive voices can be the voice that says, I need to help. Here's the sympathy instinct. You're waiting in line and there is a pregnant woman behind you and you just feel, hey, I'm just going to let her go by and check out first. And you talk to someone and you're just so excited about your promotion, but then you realize the person next to you just lost the job and you just change the subject. This is like an intuition. There is a feeling of, well, this is not good to make this person feel bad. Or, I had a client who, told me about this person who she kind of knew from work, and she was a flight attendant, who called her one day out of the blue. And she was about to sign up for a flight on that day, which a pilot who happened to be her neighbor was supposed to fly. And this guy called her and said, you know what? I just have the feeling you shouldn't go into this flight. And she said, what? Okay, all right. Somehow she trusted the guy. She didn't know why, but she trusted the guy, and she didn't sign up for the flight. And it turned out that exactly that flight crashed. And, several people died in that plane crash. And so there was just, this feeling of this guy, I need to, convey this message to this woman, was also this I need to help instinct, that feeling that, can happen also when we are having the feeling of, I have a sense I need to check in with my friend, and then the friend tells you, I really am going through a hard time. Thank you so much for calling. That was really, a lifesaver. This is something that I also feel is an intuitive voice that we can way more often listen to, rather than, again, go into our, I have a track that I have to be on and I cannot really get bothered by what's going on around me.
Well, let's take a short break, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about, this idea that this sense of something is something we can learn and we can do. So the question then becomes, how can we tap into this intuition? What is Dr. Friedemann Schaub? How does he help the people he works with? Tap into that. What are some of the questions you might ask yourself? How does it feel? How does intuition feel? Does it show up as fear, or is that something else? We're going to take a short break, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the show.
We stayed up a little late last night.
Called the Oprah of radio by her listeners. Award-winning host Dr. Pat Baccili is blowing the doors off of traditional talk radio. Get ready for an energizing delivery and powerful interviews with leaders in the field of human potential. Dr. Pat's fresh, new perspective on living life full out has catapulted her show to the top of talk radio. Tune in and Dr. Pat will help you thrive instead of merely survive. Visit thedrpatshow.com. That's THEDRPatshow.com for listening times in your area.
You got attitude? Keys to the rescue. Adjust your attitude with Keys Clear Protein Waters. So refreshing. Just a few sips of Keys will give you a whole new outlook, thanks to 22 grams of the happiest protein on earth. Tongue-tingling tasty without the guilt of naughty or nasty ingredients. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, maybe you need to drink too. Put a little woohoo in your attitude with Keys Protein Water. On Amazon or at Keys, Kees, please.com.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, identify your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst and clairvoyant who uses her intuitive and energetic gifts to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times, and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.
Are you tired of being tired? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know the adrenal glands, the workhorse of the body? They are the means by which you position yourself in life for whatever comes your way. Tiny but mighty, producing hormones the body uses to promote energy and vitality. These adrenals determine how you respond to stress, and when depleted, the body loses its ability to function powerfully when we need it most. The much-needed adrenaline or epinephrine is not available for emergency situations. Cortisone and cortisol, the longer-acting anti-stress adrenal hormones, can also become depleted due to the pace of our everyday lives. We overwork and undernutrition, our most powerful ally that helps us to live the lives we desire. We are able to determine the optimum function of the adrenals and put your system back in balance. Contact us today to feel powerfully energized at 888-777-4232 or visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Will my soul set fire? When that dark day comes, will I be up by your side?
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. It's great to have all of you tuning us in, turning us on. For more information, go to transformationtalkradio.com. Go to thedrpatshow.com. Certainly Facebook, The Dr. Pat Show, Twitter, The Dr. Pat Show. Friedemann, what's the best way for people to find out more about you, for them to schedule a session with you so they can learn how to move beyond the fear and tap into their intuition?
Well, the best way is to just go to the fearandanxietysolution.com. That's all in one word, the fearandanxietysolution.com. And there you can find many ways to contact me, for example, by email at info@the Fear and Anxiety Solution. There is a phone number, 866-903-6463. And what I like to start with is just if you're interested, send an email. We'll send you more information about the sessions and then can set up a free phone consultation or a Skype consultation to get you going.
And what you know, I know you're doing webinars. I know you're doing a number of different things differently. So why don't you tell folks a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm also offering a 3-month Breakthrough Fear and Anxiety webinar. We are in the midst of this series right now, which is going really well, and we have a lot of great feedback from people that have been struggling with fear and anxiety for a long time. And we will do this again beginning September for another 3-month series. And it's definitely an intensive where you meet every 2 weeks via Skype or via the video seminar. We have ongoing question and answer sessions, unlimited email support, so that you really get the maximum leverage to lift yourself out of this rut of fear and anxiety and be able to heal it and outgrow it.
I love that. Now, you were going to share some tips with us because, you know, life is really much easier, at least from my point of view, when I reflect, when I am really following my intuition. And it's almost as if the dots are out there and they get connected for me. And I know that along the way that there are some things that people can learn, and I'd love for you to share that.
Well, you know, I started to talk about these different voices, these subtle senses that we can certainly foster. So there is the feeling of, you know, wanting to help and just listen to this, or the feeling in your body that tells you a lot, the emotions that are also a part of the intuition. But then there is also something that I find a very powerful intuitive hit, which is the sense of this is it. You know, when you ever have looked for a house and you look through 20, 30 places and all of a sudden you go into that house or into that place and you just say, all right, that's it. I can feel it. This is like where I can really imagine myself living. Happened to me every time I looked for a place and found it, that after just, even finding ideal places, it didn't feel right. At some point, there is a moment where something inside of you clicks and it says, that is it. And that also happened with me and Danielle, that when I met Danielle, I just knew this is it. There was no logic behind it because she lived on the whole different side of the U.S. and she was having her own business, and uprooting her or uprooting me would have been really difficult. But it was just a strong feeling, this is it. And that's something that I think happens in smaller ways as well. So you don't have to necessarily look for the life-changing this is it. Just look for little things. You're looking at a menu at the restaurant and you just pick the this is it for today meal that you want to have, or you have 200 channels and you just do the this is it one that you want to focus on, that your intuition tells you this is what you need to watch today. So just allow yourself to be a little bit more in tune with this inner intuitive this is it voice, which really going to help you to make better decisions, and usually also makes life much more interesting, because in some ways when we go just with rational and logical thinking through life, it kind of gets boring. It kind of gets predictable. But if you're actually listening to your intuition, you can be surprised, because your intuition may have a real different plan for you on that day, and it can turn out to be actually, one of those things that really brighten up your day and maybe do turn your life in a very exciting direction. Just like a friend of mine who told me that, all of a sudden she had this voice inside, quit your job, start a job at this and that hospital. And she said to herself, this doesn't make no sense whatsoever, but I'm not so attached to this job, so why not? So she just applied. Well, she got the job right away. She started. First day she started her job, she met her future husband, and now 20 years later they are still happily married. So it's very interesting sometimes just to be brave, tune in, and then see what happens. And I know that all of us, and this is another tool I want to share, all of us have experiences in the past. It's easy to say, well, my intuition doesn't work, if you don't really have some, backup, if you have, some information that actually tells you that, yeah, it does work. You can gain trust through evidence. So go back, think about times in your life, like you talked about, your motorcycle story, and I'm sure there are many other stories where you simply remember, yeah, I followed my gut feeling and this is how it turned out, so that you can actually really tell your conscious mind, you can step out of the way when this gut feeling comes up, because usually, 10 out of 10 times, it's right. And I think that can also build trust in that voice and help you to rely on it more.
Don't we also have to be mindful, too, of not always sharing our gut with everyone? Because, if we're following our gut and our spouse or our bosses or whoever it is doesn't follow the gut, then we can really subject ourselves to have our idea or intuition diluted. Can't we?
I agree. Absolutely. Well, an intuition, especially when it's something that feels like a big thing, is like it's like bringing you to a place that is, new territory. And when you're in new territory and you're planting something there, it's like a delicate flower. You don't want to have people just right away step onto it. So if you do feel there is an intuition that really is making your life, change in a big way, just like in general, when we decide to change, just allow yourself to keep it for yourself and just sit with it and see what's going to happen before you're bringing out. Because when people don't feel what you're feeling, they will try to say from their rational mind, well, this is wrong and this doesn't feel, that you should be doing it, because it may be their own fears and insecurities that will actually try to talk you out of it.
Yeah, like doing that radio show or setting up that blog, or how about this, writing that award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution.
Yeah. I don't know if this was an intuition, but it was certainly what got me even into this work and switch from cardiology into what I'm doing now. That definitely wasn't logic and rational thinking. But, sometimes intuition is also just the feeling that actually keeps on nudging you. So this doesn't have to be a one little blip, like a note on Facebook, and then it disappears right away. It can actually keep on coming and coming until you finally pay attention to it.
Yeah, I actually see it as like a drop in a lake. When the rain hits the lake, we see it as one raindrop. But if you look at the lake and you see the ripple effect of it, and how that water now reaches places on shore, because the ripple effect has increased the water that reaches a certain plant. And it has far-reaching effects. And that's what I think you're talking about. We may not always see where ultimately this is going to go. And so part of this is what you've talked about in previous shows. We have to be willing to trust and also let go of what we think was going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, and, this is where I just think intuition can be something that helps you also to shift your perspective from this whole goal-oriented, you have to achieve, you have to compete, you have to win, to, no, this is a journey. We are on a path, and the intuition is your compass that can help you along the way to find those treasures that you are here to find and learn those lessons that you are here to learn. So it's a wonderful just way of living. And Danielle, my wife, she is a master of living intuitively. Yeah. And sometimes I'm just in awe how she just lives really almost, without really logic, but just whatever her guidance tells her. And I have learned a lot from her, how well this works and how really efficient it is ultimately.
I love it. Dr. Friedemann, Schaub, everybody. Go visit the Fear and Anxiety Solution. What a great show. Thank you, Dr. Friedemann, for all you do.
Oh, I beg him, please sing him. Come out of things unsaid.